Hi, friend. Ashley here. Welcome to the Unlock Your Dream podcast. I'm here to guide you along your journey to unlocking your dreams to achieve the best life that you can imagine possible. From my journey in medicine as a PA and then some in the corporate world, I always still desired a little bit more out of life. It wasn't until I met some people who had seen their dreams realized that it occurred to me that maybe, just maybe, mine could come true too. Come along with me as we get to know some of these friends of mine and hear their stories of unlocking their dreams. Hi, friend. Welcome back this week to the Unlock Your Dream podcast. I am so excited and almost didn't even want to hit record. I just wanted to keep chatting with my friend Stephanie from Harper and Faye Financial. So, just a little bit of background about her, and then I'm just going to let her dive on into her story. But Stephanie runs Harper and Faye Financial. It's a boutique bookkeeping firm specializing in helping small businesses and freelancers, particularly those in rural areas who may lack access to vital financial resources. She has more than a decade of experience in the financial world and a background in private wealth and personal finance. She is a third generation entrepreneur, you guys. So I know we have a lot of entrepreneurial listeners here. That's incredible and definitely part of the story I'm so pumped to hear more about. So she's kind of always been drawn to entrepreneurship, and her passion for money and numbers drives her to really empower business owners, helping them to feel confident in their financials and breaking down taboos around money conversations. So we have a lot to dive into today. So Stephanie, welcome to the Unlock Your Dream podcast. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Oh my gosh, Sam, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So really, I'm just going to let you dive in. There is a ton to unpack in that bio, girl. So third generation entrepreneur. And I agree with you about money conversations as an entrepreneur can feel very taboo. It's very intimate and very personal. And I can already say from personal experience, you just take all the walls down and make that conversation so easy. So how did you get to where you are? How did you start Harper and Faye? I'm so excited to
Yeah.
hear.
Oh my gosh. So yes. So I mean, kind of going back. So I obviously I'm a third generation entrepreneur. My parents are business owners. My grandparents, both sets of grandparents are business owners. So it's just kind of like ingrained in me. Um, and part of that is growing up, we always talked about money. So it's something that I've always been super comfortable with. My husband and I joke, he's just like, I think I know more about your family's finances than I do my own family's because we're so open and honest and it's just like part of, who we are. So yeah, so, backstory, all that. I just kind of knew that's what I wanted to do. So in college, I actually wanted to go into become like an accountant. Like that's what I wanted right when I graduated. Took an accounting class like my first semester of college and I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. Like nope, not going to do it. So I switched to marketing. So I actually have my degree in marketing, but I've always just kind of stayed in the finance world. It's weird. In college I was like a budget analyst for the Forest Service, like as a student intern. So like I did that for 2 years in college. So like even though it was marketing, I did finance. And then after that, I kind of did like sales and marketing. And I was like, this is great. It really helped to build like my customer service and all of that kind of stuff. I dealt with a lot of like business owners and just like learning about their business. But I was like, this isn't for me. So then I jumped into private wealth. So I technically am a certified financial like advisor. I have all like those designations and everything like that. So I spent years in private wealth. And then again, at the end of the day, I was just like, this isn't what I truly love. Like I love working with business owners and getting to know them like on a deeper level because again, finances are so taboo. It's such a sensitive topic. I mean, I literally just had a conversation with a girl the other day. She's like 27 and just kills it in her business. And she was like, Steph, you have no idea how much stress thinking about financials like brings to my life. Like I stay up late at night thinking about it because I have no idea what to do. Like I'm really good at my business and like helping my employees and like our clients. But when it comes to financials, like I was not taught this. Like I don't know what to do. And
Mhm.
so she's like, even just having brought you on has relieved so much stress. Like I know where I sit for my financials. I get a monthly P&L. You explain them to me because she's like, it's like Chinese to me. Like I look at these numbers and I'm like, what? Like I don't know what this means. Like what's a profit margin? Like I don't have
Yeah.
no idea. So it's just like things like that. So I'd always kind of done bookkeeping on the side for my parents. And then like friends or other family members who were like, "Hey, Steph, like, could you help this?" So I've been doing it for years, like probably over 10 years. And then I just finally told my husband, I said, I think that like, I'm just like, I want to go out on my own and I want to open my own bookkeeping firm. And he was just like, really? Like, bookkeeping? I was like, but if you think about it, what is the one thing that every business has in common, no matter how big or how small? Financials.
Mhm.
And again, they're Chinese and people just like are scared of them. And so I want to be like that person, that resource where they know that their bookkeeping is getting taken care of. They don't have to stress come tax time or every month to be like, do we have money to pay our bills? Do we have money to pay our employees? Like, are we getting paid? Like, are our clients paying us? Um, so I help to like relieve all of that and take that on for clients and then just kind of help them to build and think of different ideas of like, hey, I noticed like this. Maybe you should start pushing this, product or service a little bit more because it's been killing it. Um, or like this lower end product. Yeah, you sell a lot of it, but you also sell this one product that's higher end. Yeah, maybe you sell less, but you make way more. So it's just like stuff like that that really I truly love, and it's been amazing. So I love it.
Oh my gosh, what a story. Yeah, and I love like from your side, you do have the marketing piece. It's like this accountant piece was almost like inherent in you. So now you major this with this accounting piece or the marketing piece and then majoring together. Like it's such a beautiful business. And I agree, it's all the things that we aren't taught. And I love that your family talked about it so that it was just comfortable and confident for you. You didn't need to be like, oh, this is weird because you start a business no matter what business it is. And most of us have been trained to be employees. And so you don't think about those things that you said that you see in people's businesses, but also you're coming to it with a little bit of an objective mindset. So maybe a product I feel super passionate about in my business, you're able to say, like, just from an outside looking in, like, let's look at the money. And I just think, like, yeah, I just hear you talking and I'm immediately thinking peace. Like, it would just add so much peace to any situation. That's incredible. Love, 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 love.
Yes, no, that's what I'm trying to accomplish is I want to take stress and make money not so scary because it's really not. Like it is a beautiful thing and it just gets such a bad rap that it really shouldn't. You should feel confident in your numbers, and that's what I'm here to help you with.
And I know you guys live in Montana now, but do you have clients from across the states, kind of all over?
Yeah, so primarily I have a bunch of clients in Montana, but I have clients in California. I have people all the way over in Massachusetts, Florida, kind of all over. And so obviously, like, too, a lot of people, for me, I have to know quite a bit, like, sales tax. First,
Mhm.
Montana, there's no sales tax. Even just like payroll, different, payroll taxes that you have to do. And I do have a lot of, well, I have one client in particular, she has a team and they're all remote workers. So it's just like, oh, even though they're remote, like, oh, we need to make sure that we're filing, state taxes in each state, not just the one that you're located. So it's just like stuff like that where, again, you're like, I want to build this team, let's do some remote. But then you're like, oh, wait, I also have to like pay taxes and do all this. And it's like, yes, don't worry, don't stress out. I'm here to help.
That's incredible. That's just so incredible. Who would you say that's helped you get your business where it is? I know obviously it sounds like your family's been very influential into your life and kind of helping you be where you are. And your husband obviously sounds really supportive. But anyone else or people along the way that helped to get you where you are?
Yeah, I mean, definitely like, my parents, my dad especially, he just like has this crazy drive that from the outsider looking in, you would be like, you're exhausting. Like, where are you going? But and like that's kind of where I get that like, let's do it. Like, let's go for it. Let's take a risk. Like, you don't know. So obviously like he has like been my biggest supporter and my husband, he's been so great. He's just kind of like the entrepreneurial side. He's just like not new to it in a sense. He still works like a W-2 job and it's great. He works for like a fabulous company. So he's like super supportive, but at times he's just like, I don't really get what you're doing. Like, what? Why do you have to do this? Or like, so I would say that. And then, I mean, so I just like have some really close friends who've just like really been like super encouraging and like pushing me forward. Why not go for it? Shoot for the moon. Like it can't help like hurt or anything. So yeah, I would say like there's a few, but mostly it would be like my dad and like my husband who are definitely the biggest like drivers for me.
That's so cool. I love that. So, looking through your website, obviously you have different services people can work with you. We can do like a monthly service or be a full service client or even do a VIP day. So, what does those
Mhm.
look like if someone's interested in like, yes, this sounds amazing? Kind of how would that play
Yeah.
out?
So our monthly bookkeeping is kind of like our signature package, I guess you would call it. So that is basically you kind of give over a lot of financial control to us. So we're going into, your QuickBooks or Xero, whatever, accounting software you're using. Most everybody has QuickBooks. So we're going in, we're coding all of your transactions, making sure that there's receipts for all of those transactions. Um, and just making sure that everything is like categorized correctly. If there's anything missing, or we're all small business owners, things happen, and I run my personal card on, or I use like my business card, excuse me, for like a personal transaction. I mean,
Mhm.
I literally just did this last week. I like went to buy groceries and I just like handed them my business card, not even thinking, and then I walked out and I was like, yep, I gave them the wrong credit card. Like, oops, my bad. So, like, stuff like that, catching that so that we can have like a true representation of like your financials. So, going in, coding everything, sending you, hey, what are these transactions that we have like no idea what they're for? You sending them back, and then us sending you kind of like your financial packet. So, in a financial packet, you're going to get your profit and loss. That's going to be like your bread and butter of the business. So, you're going to see the money that has come in for that month, the money that went out for that month. And then I'm like a visual person. So, I think this is where the marketing kind of comes in. So, I also have like this really nerdy spreadsheet with a bunch of graphs and charts, and then like you can show it, so it shows you like month over month and then the full year, so you can kind of see like where you're trending as far as like your income, your expenses, all that kind of goes. So we send those to clients. Again, we'll also include like your balance sheet, so this is going to show you just like your credit card or your bank, any loans you may have, like the balances on that for towards the end of the month. And then your statement of cash flow, which a lot of people, that is super important to them, is your cash flow, the money coming in and the money going out, because a lot of us, it's not like we're getting these huge deals or whatnot. We have all this influx of money and then like not a lot of expenses. It's a lot of like, we just have to like play our numbers, and maybe we look at certain things and let's hold off on paying this bill. There's nothing wrong with that. If you wait to pay a bill for a week or two, there's no penalties. So things like that, just to kind of like wait for a little bit more cash to come in so you're not, overdrafting your account by
Mm,
or anything like that. So it's just a lot of like looking at that from a monthly standpoint. So that's kind of our signature package. And then we do a lot of, right now, actually, we're doing a lot of like catch ups. So we all go into like January every year. I'm going to stay on top of my bookkeeping. September rolls around. I haven't even touched my books. Like, so, and then you're like, oh, guess what? The holidays come. Probably not going to do any bookkeeping during the holidays. Oh, and then it's January again, and it's tax
mhm.
time, and we have to get everything ready. So our catch ups are us essentially doing like one big cleanup of your accounting. So we're going through, again, coding all of your transactions. If you have loan accounts, we're making sure that those are broken out between principal and interest, which a lot of people are like, oh, all of it's just straight principal, and it's like, no, there's interest, and that's a write-off. So we got to break that out so we can see that.
Wow. Okay.
So stuff like that, and just making sure, again, reconciling, which a lot of people think that reconciling means just going in and like accepting and coding all of your transactions. No, that's actually when you go in and you match, like, this is my beginning balance, this is my end balance on my bank statement. Does it match what I have in QuickBooks? And
Mm,
if there's any errors, because again, technology, I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I will go through a cleanup and a transaction didn't automatically pop through. And it's like, hey, we're off by there. Your bank statement says there's this $500 charge, but it's not showing up in your bank. Like, what is this for? Or I can find it. So it's just making sure that all of that income and expenses are accounted for correctly. So we go in, we reconcile everything. again, your books are caught up. So then hopefully, fingers crossed, you would be able to finish out the year with less work, and then
Mhm.
come like, 20 January 2025, your 2024 taxes are ready to go. And then our VIP day is essentially kind of us going in, if you're like, hey, I've been doing my bookkeeping, but like I don't know if it's correct. So us kind of doing, it's more like a diagnostic review. Like we're going in, we're doing a deep dive of your books to say like, here's what's wrong. We help to correct it. Here's how to work through it in the future so that you know how to do it correctly. So again, it's a lot of just miscoding of things. People are like, oh, or a lot of people, if you use HoneyBook and you connect HoneyBook to QuickBooks, it doubles your income, which a lot of people don't know. So they're like, oh my God, I have all this money, but you don't. Like, and so it's going in and correcting that. And then a lot of things too, people don't realize is when you do use like a third payment processor, so like Stripe, for instance, or Square, they're taking those fees out prior to them depositing the funds into your bank account. So we want to make sure that we account for those fees because, again, those fees are a write off for you.
Mhm.
So we do what's called a journal entry, and we actually take, let's say you sold a package of something for $500, but you only received $450. So they took a $50 fee. So we're going to show that, hey, you actually made 500. Your fee was 50, so then your net was 450. So going in and correcting all of that, which a lot of people just don't know about. Because it is taxes and bookkeeping, it's very confusing and there's so many different rules. I wouldn't say
Mhm.
rules, just so many different things that you can do just depending on your business and how you run it. The laws are always changing. So we're staying on top of that and making sure that everything is done correctly. So yeah, just making sure that, you're in compliance essentially and everything is ready to go. And another big thing too is if you're a contractor, freelancer, you receive a 1099, you know, that business needs to send you a 1099. I'm the person from that business who is sending those 1099s come January. Penalty for the business owner if you're not sending those. So again, a lot of us hire contractors to help us in our business. So making sure that we're tracking that correctly so that we can, send the IRS, hey, I paid Ashley $1,000 to help me with this in my business, you know, here's what I paid her. She receives one also so that you can account for it on your taxes, um, things like that. So it's a lot. And then we also offer like payroll services, accounts payable, accounts receivable, bill pay, all that kind of stuff. So
Oh my gosh, just
there's a
so
lot.
much to you guys. It's so much to keep up with. I can't imagine someone not having someone like you, Stephanie. I
Yeah,
literally can't. As I'm listening, I'm like, there's just too much to think about. And I think it was on our podcast with Drew. She was saying, you need to focus on product and profit and delegate the rest. And this is that stuff I'm hearing that like just clouds your brain that like if you can just delegate it, go scale your business and like let you do what you're good at. It sounds amazing.
exactly. Yeah, no, I'm a huge proponent of outsourcing. Again, I'm not like trying to like, oh my God, outsource all your bookkeeping. Like if you can do it and you feel comfortable and confident, go for it. Maybe you just do a VIP day where I just come in and like take a double look at everything and make
Yeah.
sure it's lined up correctly, but I'm a big proponent. I'm like, we were talking earlier, like I outsource all my branding and my website because my brain just doesn't work that way. Like and I don't have time. Yeah, I could probably research it and figure it out, but like the amount of time that it's going to take me to do that, is it worthwhile? Like, probably not. I'd rather just like pay somebody and outsource it and know that it's done correctly and in a timely manner. So that I'm not stressing about it. And I can actually focus on my business and my clients and providing them with the best possible service I can offer, and making sure that their financials are accurate.
Yeah, so good. That's the last thing you want is the IRS letter coming to your house when you could have just had it taken care of. It's just not worth the
Oh,
headache.
yeah,
You pay in time or money. So sometimes it's worth it to pay in money to get the peace of mind and your time back.
exactly. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'll just have like my accountant do it for me. And a lot of the times, like, they don't want to do that. And so A, they're going to charge you up the yin yang.
Mhm.
Um, and B, they're going to miss a lot of things. And there's a lot of things that if you're not staying on top of your bookkeeping, like you can't go back and like if you're trying to like find write-offs, there's only a certain amount of things that you can do in the like in the next year. So like in let's say 2025, for instance, that would affect your 2024 books
Mhm.
and like your taxes. So staying on top of that, like this is one thing that I love to do is to like almost kind of offer some tax strategy, be like, hey, like this is where you're kind of trending as far as like your net income for the year, which is what you'll be paying your taxes on. Let's look at different ideas. Are you just like a sole prop? Maybe we can open like a solo 401k and put money away for your future. Guess what? It's a tax write off. But yet you're also saving for your future. So it's just certain things like
Yeah.
that that if you're not staying on top of your books, you can't, plan. Or it's like, okay, like where do we sit? Could we bring on another employee to
Mhm.
help grow the business? Or maybe it's time to invest in new equipment. Um, things like that. But if you don't know where you sit financially, you're like, oh yeah, like I'll be fine. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I made $400,000 this year. Like I'm going to be hit on taxes. So what could I do? Um,
Mhm.
so that's like another thing that I think a lot of people don't think about when they're, you know, think of bookkeeping and like accounting and stuff. It's like you need to stay on top of it so that you can plan for the future
Mhm.
and see where you sit now. So moving forward, you can continue to grow. Because I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, we all don't want to pay Uncle Sam a bunch of money. So, like, why not take that money instead of paying him, put it back into your business? So,
Yeah, and it's just knowing that and knowing how to do it strategically, and it's so nice too that you have the financial advisor background too, because you kind of see like a micro scale, but also the macro scale of just like the big picture of what's possible. I love that you're able to marry the two, which is super unique.
yeah, it's been so great. And too, just like having that background too, it's just like other little things where I talk to clients like, hey, have you done estate planning at all? Like, I don't want to sound morbid, but like things happen. Do you have a trust set up? Do you have a will set up? All that kind of stuff that you don't think about. So
Yeah,
just,
for
I
sure.
don't provide those services, but it's just like, hey, I'm just going to remind you because a lot of
Yeah.
times they don't have somebody to remind them.
Yeah, you sound just like super full service, which I think that's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. What would you say are some things that you've had to overcome along your journey to owning Harper and Faye?
Oh gosh. Well, I am a mom too. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So our life is busy and they go to like daycare preschool a couple days a week. So a lot of it is just juggling being an entrepreneur and being a mom. Like it's really hard because I do have to get my work done, but like they're at the same time, it's like, oh, they're sick. So like you kind of become like the default parent, which
Mhm.
again, no, like my husband can take off work, but like, I mean, this week he's in Texas traveling for work. So it's just like,
Yeah.
he can't if they're sick, like he's out of state. Um, so it's a lot of like trying to, I mean, I feel like we all deal with it, that work life balance and like how to juggle both. But like, I still want to continue to grow and like me growing okay, like that's going to eat away from my family time. So then do I bring on like a contractor to help me? So it's a lot of just like juggling different pieces. That has been like the most challenging. And
Mhm.
also just like, I work from my home office. So it's like shutting off work when I
Mm.
should be like doing family time. Like that I still struggle with. Like even at going full bore in my business a year and a half later, I still struggle with that where I'm like, oh, let me just like, oh, the girls are playing outside. Well, I'll just like work while they play. And it's like, no,
Mhm.
shut my laptop, go watch them, like enjoy this because it's gonna go by. Like our youngest turns 5 next, or excuse me, our oldest turns 5 next month. And I'm like, you're 5? Like, what? like, didn't I just have you? And then like, it goes by so quickly. So it's just like that balance has been a struggle, but I'm working through it.
Yeah, I appreciate that you would share that just really vulnerably. Like you haven't arrived, you're working on it. And it is a challenge to be present with all the things that command our attention. And I imagine especially how easy it is just to like open up that laptop, turn it on, do a few things when your children are right there. And you're right, like you're missing the memories right in front of you for something, just like you said for your clients, like maybe you can wait a little bit and it's going to be okay. I
Exactly.
totally relate to that.
I think it's the type A people pleaser in me that's just like, I gotta get, and it's like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
They can wait another day. We're good.
Yeah. Any surprise twists and turns along the way, or a favorite type of client maybe that you have that you're like, ooh, that came through. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I have like a client, they have their husband and wife, and they have like two businesses essentially. And they are kind of like what really like helped to push me to like, okay, let's go for this. Cause they're like, we need a new bookkeeper. Like you have come, like multiple people have referred you to us.
Wow.
And I was just like, okay, let's do it. And so they have just been so fabulous. And like, they've really just kind of like let me grow as a business owner too. And like, hey, can I try this out? Like, and see if this works. So they've kind of been like, not my guinea pigs, I don't want to say, but like they're open to like letting me try different things, which has been so great. I just like can't thank them enough. And then, you know, I've had to fire clients. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
lie. It's you again, I'm like a very open and honest person. I'm pretty black and white, but like I can see it all. But like, you know, I brought them in and it's just like, oh, you don't have just two bank accounts. You have five bank accounts. Oh, you just have one credit card. You have multiple credit cards. And, you know, they expect like me to drop everything and just do it for them. And it's just like, no, and like you not that I have rules, but it's like again, I'm a one woman show right now. I have a family. My kids are young. Like, you know, don't be calling me at 8 o'clock at night. Like, I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Like, that's my family time and that's like really special to me. Um, so just like, I guess from that, I've learned that like I really have to get better at like knowing somebody before I bring them on as a client.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe that's me asking you 10 extra questions in our discovery call because I'm pretty good at gauging, like, I think this is going to work out, or like, just based off of our conversation, like, I think you honestly, and I'm open and honest, I think you would actually need somebody in house,
Mhm.
or you need like a full time person, not me. Um, and so learning it's really hard for me, you know, again, as this new business to say no to people or to
Mhm.
fire somebody because I'm like, at the end of the day, that's revenue that I'm missing out on. But then I always have to remind myself, like, there's other people out there who are going to align with me a lot better
Mhm.
and like appreciate the service that I'm providing them because I'm not like that pretty shiny service, not the marketing, I'm not the social media. I'm the behind the scenes, the not so pretty numbers that like nobody knows about, nobody talks about. And
Mhm.
so I would say we're kind of like the thing that people think about the least, but we're the most important. Like without accurate numbers or anything, like, cool, you can hire a social media manager and like, or to do like a marketing campaign or something, but like, and you spend $5,000. What was your ROI on that though? Nothing. Was
Mhm.
it, did you at least break even? You know, stuff like that, where I see that big picture behind the scenes and a lot of people don't.
Mhm.
So,
Gosh, that's
yeah.
all so good. I appreciate you again just for being honest and vulnerable. I think we haven't had probably enough conversation about that on here about firing clients. And I think it's something that's a lot, again, kind of taboo, but it needs to be talked
Yeah.
about because, like you said, if you're, say you do take them on, yes, it might be a little bit more revenue now, but is your time worth it, first of all? And then, second of all, what's it blocking you from receiving? Like, is there another client or two that would actually be more revenue that you can't take on because your time is all tied up with the wrong person?
Exactly. And I think, again, like you said, it's kind of along the lines of money. It's taboo. Nobody talks about that. But like, it's okay. It's okay. Like
Mhm.
at the end of the day to say goodbye to somebody because you know what? You probably weren't a good fit for them either. Like,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, like it just wasn't a good match. And that's okay. They will find somebody who works perfectly for them and you will find somebody new to work perfectly with. Um, so again, I think people are like scared to say no. And again, that people pleaser in me, and like I'm such a yes person that I'm like, yes, I'll take you on, even though I know deep down like we're not gonna work out. So it's been a lot of like internal work that I've had to do to be like, no,
Yeah.
stop, set boundaries, hold those boundaries, and then like if they keep breaking them, just say, I'm sorry, this isn't gonna work out. Like we're gonna have to part ways. And I do, and I'm not just gonna like leave them high and dry. I'll refer them off, be like, hey, I know quite a few other like bookkeepers. Um, reach out to them. They might be great, but for us, we're just not a fit.
Yeah, so good. I can't agree more with the situation about boundaries. I think boundaries is just such a huge piece in life in general, but especially like
Yes.
you said, balancing all the roles that you have to set them and you have to maintain them and be accountable to them. So I love that you would share that. And also, I was just thinking about the book Boundaries, but also the book Crucial Conversations, just that, they are hard conversations, but there's a way to have them that doesn't have to be like this horrible breakup.
Oh
But like you
yeah,
said, there's a way to do it with people skills that is full of grace and truth. And at the end of the day, you got to do what's right for you and for your business and for your family. And like you said, probably right for them and their business and their family too.
exactly. Like at the end of the day, everything's gonna work out. I'm a not a woo woo, but I'm just like everything happens for a reason, and it will all work out. Like be positive, positive mindset, positive energy, all that kind of stuff. I'm a firm believer in.
Same, me too. We're in the right place. We said before this call, like, we're going to be soul sisters. And I'm
I
just really
know. I'm like, babe, like, how did this happen? I love it though. I love finding new friends who like align with me. I was just like last week I was at a networking group and it was just like it's just nice to be able to talk to like other business owners who are moms and like work by themselves. I'm like, it kind of gets lonely sometimes. So it's nice to just like have those other resources where it's like, yeah, maybe we just meet once a month and like just hang out, get a drink, go get some appetizers, whatever. But just like having those resources is so nice because it's a weird world being an entrepreneur. Like no day is the same. I don't know what is going to happen this afternoon. Like, I could have a client call me and be like, I just hired 4 new people. And I'd be like, what? Okay, here we go. I don't know what the day is going to bring. And I think too, that's what I like about it because a lot of like bookkeeping and finance is very routine, the same thing. So I like a little spunk, like throw something crazy at me, like let's work through it.
I love it. Yeah, I think you have to have that mindset working through. There's so much good in there. I love
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Do you have any advice for somebody? So I know Harper and Faye pretty new, obviously a year and a half. It sounds like you are doing amazing, even in just that time that you've been able to step out and really believe in your own dream. But what would you say for someone maybe who feels like they want to take the plunge on a dream that they have, but they're maybe feeling scared or fearful, doubtful, anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, I know as stupid as it sounds, but like, just go for it.
Mhm.
Like, what do you have to lose? And this kind of goes back to like my dad. He's like, he does these crazy business deals, and half the time I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Like, what? He's like, a couple of years ago, he's like, I'm buying some storage units. And I was like, that is so stupid. Like, why would you do that? And he was like, trust me, just trust me. And I was like, okay. And I trusted him. And it's one of the best business decisions he's done. Um, too, because I do the books for it. So I see
Yeah.
financially, I'm like, wow, you were right. Like, and I totally doubted you. And my mom and I just like fought you on it. And we're like, don't do it, don't do it. So I know it sounds so stupid, but just like, you know yourself and you
Mhm.
know what you're capable of doing.
Mhm.
Don't let anybody like push you down or tell you no or like break that spirit that you have. Like, go for it. It
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's kind of like I look at it this way too, like going out on my own, a lot of it had to do with like I wanted to spend more time with my kids because I can go back to a W-2 job at any point in my life. I have the rest of my life to work.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are only little for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like Stevie, that's our oldest, she starts kindergarten next year. And I'm like, my mom was like, cherish these moments now because then she's in school forever. And then she is done with school. And then she moves out and like is going to college and like becomes an adult. So, like, for me, it's just like, why not try it? I can always go back to a 9 to 5 if I need to. But like, why would I not try? There's nothing wrong with that, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I think it just makes you even more like if you did have to go back to like a W-2 9 to 5 job, it makes you a better employee because you know the struggles that it takes to run a business. And like you almost would have like a new perspective on, you know, being an employee, like what it takes, um, and all that kind of stuff. So I just say go for it. There's nothing stopping you. Like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That's okay. And two, you'll learn along the way. Like I was just like, I strictly only want to do monthly bookkeeping. Like that's all I want to do. And now I've like made these kind of pivots where it's like, okay, now I offer like payroll. And then I do like catch ups and cleanups. And I was like, I love doing those now that I like started offering those. But it's like in the beginning, I had this one mindset that like, this is all I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to do. But then you have to learn too to like pivot and get a little creative. Like, how else can I do something? Um, so yeah, that's what I would say is just like, go for it.
I love
Nothing's
it.
stopping you.
Oh,
Like,
somebody
you
press
won't,
pause
you
and
won't
replay.
regret it. You will not regret it.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, so good. I needed that today. That's awesome. Where did Harper and Faye the name come from?
So those are actually my two girls, their middle names. So
Oh,
we have Blake Harper and Stevie Faye. So I was like, they're my two. I like my pride and joy, my children. And I was like, how can I combine my other baby, my business, with my real babies? And I was just like, Harper and Faye Financial. Like, it's kind of sounds professional, but like a lot of people don't know, like my close friends and family, they know like what it means. But yeah, it's actually my two girls, it's their middle names. And so it's the combining of all my like babies into one.
I'm obsessed. I love their names, by the way. Love,
Oh,
love, love. Ugh.
yeah, we had kind of have like, you know, gender neutral. So yeah, we have a Stevie, and when we found out we were having another girl, I was like, well, we can't have like a Sarah or something. Like, we got to do something else unique. And then we were like Blake, and she is a Blake. Like,
Mm,
she's just bossy and she's the best. They're
love
both fabulous, but yeah, we got a Stevie and a Blake, and they live up to their names.
it. I love it. Oh, so good. Well, we're winding down on time, obviously, and I want to give people a chance to connect with you. But is there anything that we didn't get to touch on that you wanted to share?
No, I mean, I think that's it. Like, even too, like, a lot of people just don't know this, but like, you can just call and like schedule a call just to chat. Like, hey, I like have this random question. Like, could you help me out? Um, so it's not like necessarily needing full services. But I love helping people. Like, I mean, I have people like in my DMs, like, hey, I was thinking about doing this. Like, what do obviously like there's certain things where I need to like know your financials, but for
Sure.
the most part, I can kind of just help you. And that's what I want to do is I want to help people. I don't want them to like never ask because they're too scared. Um, just know that like you could throw anything out to me and like I might just be like, meh, like that doesn't even phase me. Like, you think you have the messiest books? No, trust me, I've seen worse.
Mhm.
Zero judgment here. I'm here to help. I'm a resource. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's something to kind of leave on.
I love that. Well, where can listeners connect with you?
Yeah. So I'm on social media. So Instagram primarily. So Harper and Faye Financial. And then I do have a website and I try to like update my blog. I'm, I
Even
try once a month, maybe we'll see. So harperandfayfinancial.com, are both like great resources and I hang out on both of them a lot. So yeah.
love that. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. What a pleasure and privilege to get to have you on today. And I hope this
Yes.
ends in the right hands and gets the right people into your DMs and your books and all the things. We're so grateful to hear your story today.
Oh my gosh. No, thank you for having me. I'm like so excited. This is the best. This is a great podcast. And it's just a wealth of knowledge for everybody.
Okay, friend, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Feel free to share this podcast with another friend who it may inspire. Leave a review to possibly be featured at the beginning of another episode, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the stories that could help unlock your dream for you.